now tuned into the greatest.
Let's go.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I just reached out to a ton of brands that I want to work with. And listen, I gotta be honest. Now in 2022, it's really not about how many followers you have and how many likes and comments you have. You know what's more important is if the brand wants to work with you as a creator. That's it. Everything else is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. Trust me. And like, I'm not saying this from a point of like, I had this stuck in my mind where, you had to have 1 million followers to get a sponsorship deal, or, you wait for them to reach out to you. No, you need to initiate the conversation. Don't get me wrong. I've had a lot of denies, right? Because of the price point. But at the same time, it's like, I'm thinking in my head, like, it's crazy because I only have 500,000 on TikTok and I have 30K on Instagram, but yet I have more sponsorship deals in my inbox than one of my
you can think of.
2 of my good friends. One who, I'm not going to out him out, but like, he is,
of course,
he's struggling for sponsorship deals. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the thing is what I realize is it's important to have a voice and a personality and a point of view, and then keep the content clean. And the reason why I'm hyped up is because I had Breville reach out last night. Breville.
Oh, damn. My bad, son.
I reached out to him a couple months, like last year during this time.
Sure.
Last year I kind of like just shot him a DM, or I reshared something. But then during this new year, when I have my media kit ready, dog, you know what I'm saying? I slid into the DMs, man, and I'm dude, I gotta hit back, and I was super amped up. And
heck yeah.
And it's like, you know what? I don't know what that partnership entails. I don't know if it's ever going to happen. I know that I will tell you right now, big box brands are doing campaigns for certain products. And listen, you want to get on this campaign. So anybody out there, if you're a chef, if you are a young cook, I'm telling you, start creating content on the internet, unless you hate to do it. Like, it doesn't here's another thing, right? Like, Casey has 20K on TikTok, right? But that doesn't make me better than him. Not at all. Like, I don't care. And all my friends that have millions of followers, dude, they don't care either. Whether I have how many followers, none of us care. What we care about is the community, building a community, and also creating content that is tangible, and it inspires the younger generation, like straight up. And listen, let's be honest. All of this content creation and stuff has just started. You know what I'm saying? It only started in the early 2000s. Think about it.
Yeah.
Now it's a career. You can make a career out of this, man. And I would argue that, like, listen, it makes my skin boil sometimes, because I remember working so hard as a cook.
Yeah.
So hard, bro.
And it's almost like right now, it's like there's just money laying there. I could take that,
dude. Let's put it this way. I just signed a deal to do one Instagram story, and a story, point and shoot, with a story link. Okay, for a substantial amount of money. And the thing is like, what people need to realize is, like, you have to, like, I was never interested in sponsorship posts. And the reason why I want to touch on this is because I think if you're a young cook, or if you're in college, or if you're in high school, or if you are up and coming and you're scared about posting things on the internet, or you're the other side of the spectrum where you just want to create viral videos. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I feel like people get trapped into that mindset, I just want to say, like, if you're cooking, you're not going to make that much money cooking. Okay. I'm sorry.
100%.
You're not going to make that much money being a cook. You might it sucks too. It's not easy. You have to be passionate about it. But what I am saying is, you could supplement your income with sponsorship posts and posting videos on the internet, and, creating that portfolio that makes you stand out. And I just want to throw that out there, because in the universe, because I feel like I had so many questions as a content creator. Like, okay, like, it wasn't until the beginning of this year, like, okay, how am I going to take this seriously? And I'm sure you probably think of the same thing too, Casey.
Oh, of course, I am.
Like, you'll see. Listen, if you have 10K on TikTok, you can start monetizing. You need to start. You need
Mm,
to build up your portfolio, do a couple brand deals for free. Okay. You want to make what's called a media kit. And that's basically a short page of why they should choose you and why they should work with you. And listen,
mm,
don't do brand deals that you're not about, right? Like I'll be honest, like there was this knife company off of Amazon, like the freaking Chinese
of course.
cleaver. Like I knew the
Hmm.
knife was mass produced, and I like as soon as I had all I had to do was ask a simple question: Who makes the knife? Who makes it?
Yeah.
Is it I want to know his name. I want to know what type of metals you use. And
Yeah.
if you can't answer that question for me, then I'm moving on, right? I don't want the free knife. I don't want the free product. But I think what's really important is like for a young cook, I think that could be really good to supplement income.
Yeah.
So if you're out there, don't be scared. Just start because 200 bucks here, $300 here, $500 here, $800 here, 1,200 here, once a month, dude, is going to supplement your income and it gives you
Yeah.
more wiggle room. Like, I think it's important. I think it's important.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
one more, and I'll end with this, Casey. If you do not know how to edit videos, or if you don't know how to edit, get over yourself. Go to YouTube. There is so much information. I do not like editing videos. I am at a point in my life where I outsource the editing. I edit some if it's like if they want a certain look. But I'll be honest, you need to know how to edit videos. This is part of it. Okay.
yeah.
Dude, I edited. I mean, listen, I'm not a videographer. I'm not an editor, but at the same time, I know how to edit videos. I think this is really
Mm.
important. And over time, you become faster. It's hard for the first 6 months. It's hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sure you can admit, Casey, it's not easy editing videos. Sometimes you get wrapped up for an
Oh,
hour just
dude,
picking a
trust me.
motherfucking song. Just picking a
I
song,
mean,
right?
I am an editor. So to answer your question, I did it for 2 years, Brandon. I don't know if I told you. I had a page on Fiverr. Like I was making some pretty steady cash
Oh,
editing videos. Yeah, yeah. So I had my footing in there already. Like I know how to do it specifically for audio, for
yeah.
podcast, whatever. That's literally what people go into me like every week. I was making like, I don't know, 200-300 just editing stuff. Just quick hour or so, whatever. I do it on my off time while I was doing the restaurant. But anyway, you can do it. You can do it. Just get your foot in there. You definitely can. But now, obviously, more focused on the restaurant, or my restaurant, I should say. But yeah, man, it's a hustle. I should just say.
100%. But I feel like a lot of people are making excuses. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I get a lot of comments, and I had somebody reach out. Sorry, I'm like massaging my face. I had
No,
somebody
you're good.
reach out, and they're like, "Hey, chef, how do I get started? Blah blah blah. How do I get started in cooking?"
Mm.
And I'm just like, I'm thinking in my head like, you just have to commit to
Just
something.
cook. Yeah.
You just have to like, and what I'm saying to the younger generation of chefs nowadays is like, don't wait. Get into a
Yeah.
restaurant, start cooking, start creating content. You need to have these different avenues. When I was cooking, that was it. It was just cooking. It was only cooking. There was no
Hmm.
Instagram. There was no Facebook. There was no TikTok. Oh, the Facebook, I think, was there. But I wasn't posting anything. I wouldn't have my cell phone in the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
But I think what's really important is people are genuinely interested in what it's like to be in a professional kitchen. They're never going to step foot in the professional kitchen in their life,
Yeah.
you know? And so, like, the thing is like, all I'm saying is a lot of people second guess and question, especially the young crowd. And so if I could give you any advice, if you're trying to figure it out, just start, just do it.
Yeah.
Say, hey, listen, you don't, just because you sign up for a job, right, doesn't mean you have to commit to 2 to 5 years. I don't know why everybody like this is what it used to be this is what it used to be back in the day. Like a lot of people would say, "Hey, you need to at least work there for 2 years or work there for a year and a half."
Yeah. Yeah.
I am telling you right now in 2022, if you start working in a restaurant and within 60 to 90 days it's just not for you, that's all you need to
Quit.
say.
Yeah. Just
Move
go.
on.
Like it's not for me.
It's fine. Don't stay there if your boss sucks, if your coworkers are not vibing. Dude, if you don't fit it, you don't fit. It's totally fine. Like it's not
Yeah.
going to damage your credit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Trust me. Trust me. I know a lot of young cooks, and I'm and I just spoke with a chef that was worked at Alinea before I did. But when I worked at Alinea, man, cooks were like, dude, like a fucking Rolodex, bro. But this was back
Yeah,
in the day when it
man.
was hard to get a job there. And I
Mm.
saw so many talented cooks, man, just booted, like no short of talent, just completely belittled and crushed.
Hmm.
I just thank God that I was a sous chef before I went to Alinea. So I had much tougher skin, right? I had
Yeah,
much
yeah, yeah,
tougher
yeah.
skin. I had much more leadership skills. And unfortunately, when you're a young cook and you're getting reprimanded or just drilled, it's very difficult to swallow your pride and take that, like,
It's
you just want to
tough.
shut down.
Yeah.
It's hard to come back the next day. But what was crazy is, like, the reason why I'm saying this is, like, some people were scared to leave, or they didn't, or they just, they didn't want to commit to like 6 months or a year, but they didn't want to put it on their
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
resume. And I was just having this conversation like, hey, it's okay to say you work there. But
Mm-hmm.
honestly, the problem that I saw the most of is, a lot of the sous chefs were young in management. They got promoted there, or they, they're in their early
Yeah.
20s. And, I was the same way, man. I came out like hot headed, freaking didn't know how to lead people, didn't know how to,
Mm-hmm.
like, being a sous chef is leadership. You know what I'm saying? Being a sous
Yeah.
chef is leadership. And unfortunately, you're never going to be ready to take on this position. You just have to
Yep.
go through it. You have to hop into that role.
Mm-hmm. It's
And,
a big
you
jump
got,
too. Like all of a sudden you're like, what? I'm managing what now, people?
yeah.
I thought I'm just working. Yeah,
And it's
it's a
hard and
big
it's overwhelming. And that's why some of
mm-hmm.
these young chefs just crack and they just
Yeah,
freaking
yeah,
lose their
yeah.
mind. And that's what I realized. And I feel bad too, because it wasn't until later in my career that I realized, like, shit, I should have just talked to Chef Atkins himself. You know what I'm saying? The reason I
Yeah,
left
yeah, yeah.
was stupid. I had no choice. Like, I just couldn't live anymore. I'm not going to go into my full story, but
Mm.
like, I had,
I feel it.
yeah, I mean, listen, I was making like minimum wage, man. It was just like, I remember telling the chef, like, hey, listen, I remember the problem was, is I was talking to the chefs. I wasn't talking to ownership. So if you're in,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah.
this is a good caveat.
That's a good one.
I left Oriel making a salary of a really good amount of money. When I
Mm.
first signed on, I said, hey, chef, listen, I cannot just make minimum wage. At least let me prove to you that I'm a good cook. And after, can
Correct.
I at least get X amount of dollars? And we agreed. Unfortunately, you know, that never happened, right? Because that chef
Mm.
left. Then I literally approached the new chef, the new executive chef that was there, and God bless him, it's not his fault, right? He's new into his
Yeah, yeah,
role.
yeah.
And I said, hey, listen, I'm going to be honest. I came from Vegas. I was making this amount of dollars. Is there ever a
Yeah.
chance that I'll get back to this number? I just want to know. And he
Correct.
said, absolutely not. He said, absolutely not. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, so I know my answer. And I'm like, okay, so this is not good for me to pursue anymore, right? And it
Yep.
wasn't that much. I
Exactly.
said, hey, is there ever a chance that I'll be willing? This was back in 2012. I said, listen, I was making 55K as a sous chef in
Yeah,
Las Vegas. Is there ever a
yeah.
chance in the next year or two that I'll be making, that I would be able to make this amount of this amount?
Yeah.
This is what I need to survive.
Mhm.
And his answer right away was no, absolutely not.
Was no.
And
Wow.
and I'm like, damn. I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right. Well, thanks for telling me. Thank you for being honest, chef. But you know what? If I could go back, I would have talked to Chef Atkins himself. I would have said,
Yeah.
like, and if anybody out there, don't waste your time talking with higher leadership. You need to talk to ownership. You have to.
Right away.
Don't talk to the owner. Don't waste your time with the kitchen managers or the managers.
Yep.
You need to talk to the head honcho. Like, you
Mm.
need to talk to the one that is able to make decisions like that. Because what I
Yep.
realize is, growing up in the kitchen, when you're asking for a salary that is like anything close to your hiring manager or your manager in general, I don't know what he made, but like,
Yeah.
I totally get it. Yeah, I would shut it
They're
down
gonna say
too.
no. Yeah,
I would
correct.
shut
Be
it
like,
down
you're not gonna
too,
make
and
more than me.
I have. Listen, I remember being at Spago, and I had we had a sous chef that was coming on. He wanted 70K, and I was at like 74 or something. And I remember I was like,
Yeah,
nah, it
yeah.
ain't gonna happen, bro. Like, because that was my seat.
Not today, son.
Yeah, and then I realized, like, you know what, that's kind of selfish of me. Like,
Yeah.
but anyway, like, later on down the road, like, I realized as a chef, this is what you want. Somebody, if the person that is under you that you're mentoring does not come out better than you didn't do your job. Bottom line.
Yeah, you failed.
Yeah.
Oh, yo, can we talk about that really quickly? Like,
Go ahead.
to grow somebody underneath you, right? So during my last corporate, I was there 7 years. I trained 2 people, right? And one of them gone on, became a sous chef. She's now fully successful. The other one, gone on to be a kitchen manager, also very successful. And I was like, every time we talk, I was like, yo, do you think I did you right? In my brain, I was like, do you think I did you right? Do you think I gave you enough training? Because like I always felt like when we were all together, like the 3 of us, I felt like there was a lot of tension because obviously everybody's a type A personality, whatever it is, leading the ship, whatever. Do you think I gave you enough tools? And I thankfully I think they understood. They're like, yeah, I think you did, and now we're on to about our day. So I think that's really important. I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything, but like I think when you have people under you, you have to make them better than you are,
Yeah.
essentially. That
So
way they can lead their
that's
own.
that's a great point. And you know what I tell everybody, and I know this is hard for some people to understand, is you work for them. They don't work for you. Once
Yep,
you
yep, yep, yep.
understand that, your life becomes a lot easier. And I
Hmm.
remember I had the biggest issue with having a big sous chef team where everybody had their different opinions, right? Like sous chef would
Yeah,
say
yeah,
tell
yeah.
the cook this, then another sous chef would tell the cook this. And so basically, I swear to God, dude, this was like my biggest pet peeve. So I would say, "Oh, okay,
Mm,
okay, XY told you this. Okay, great. Hold on one second." And I would say, "Hey," and then I would call everybody over. I'd be like, "Hey, listen, this is the standard. This is where we're going. Does everybody understand? Okay, great. Confirmed. Great, great,
mm,
great." Listen, I'm like, listen, if this ever happens, if I tell you one thing or the sous chef tells you a different thing, I don't want to step on their leadership toes and they don't want to
yep.
step on my leadership toes. So just because I'm the CDC doesn't mean that it's right. Right. Like
Yeah,
if
yeah.
my sous chef is running the PM dinner line, like he's in charge. I'm nowhere to be. Like if I don't let him
Yep,
do
yep.
his thing, or her thing, then guess what? Like they're never gonna learn, they're never gonna grow. They are the head
Yep.
honcho. And
Hmm.
that leads me to say, like, you work for them, they don't work for you. You need to build these people up. You need to offer more value than they offer to you.
Yeah.
And you know what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hate the most? You know what I hate the most? And I was not only victim of this, but I also did this myself. Like I
Mm.
expected the sous chefs to work 90 hours a week. Like just because I work
Yeah,
90 hours
no,
a week.
yeah,
Just because I
correct.
work. And then you know what I realized, man, after I got older, man, like I'm just like, dude, this is stupid. You know what? And I'll shout out my wife for this one because she's like, listen, I love you. I know I married a chef and I know what I got into. And we talk about this all the time because she literally told me one time, like, she's like, I don't understand why you have to go in for a sixth a day. Like,
Yeah,
she's like, it doesn't make sense to me. And she's like, and I don't understand why you're there all day long. She's like,
yeah.
you're there breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And she's like,
Hmm.
and you work your 6 days. And I'm like, yeah, baby, we're short staffed, blah, blah, blah. Like and she's like, okay, well, there's two issues. She's like, it's either you have a time management problem or you're short staff. And I'm like,
Yeah,
mm. And then
that's
I
a little tough.
remembered,
Yeah,
and then I like, it dawned on me. And then, so then basically I remember starting to push back a little bit. Like, nah, chef, I'm not coming in at 9 o'clock. Like,
yeah.
no, I'm going to come in at 11.
No,
I'm
yeah,
gonna come in at 11. There's no reason for me to be here because our scheduled time was 8:30 and we'd work
yeah,
until like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. And I'm like, chef, we don't need to be here this early. I'm like, I'm coming in at 11.
yeah.
Well, I'm still coming in at 8:30. I'm coming in at,
Okay,
I'm coming in for breakfast. I need to
cool.
oversee breakfast. And I'm like, listen, let's be honest. You know, the breakfast cook, he had it on lock. He
Yeah,
doesn't need us.
yeah,
We
yeah,
don't
yeah.
need to be here. Like, and so then it's funny because I started coming at 11 and then I started leaving earlier. Like one service was
Yeah,
over, we had two more
yeah,
tables
yeah.
left. I'm like, yeah, man.
Exactly. Yo, thank you. Fucking just
Yeah.
let them let
And
the let
and
the
listen,
people do their thing, man.
and I'm telling every chef out there, it's okay. You don't need to show your badge of honor of being at work
Yes,
all fucking day, man. Like when
yes,
you
yes, yes,
get your
yes.
paycheck, unless you're the chef owner, unless you're the chef owner, man, just remember that the company does not care about any type of feelings or your well-being. You have to care about your feelings and your well-being. And what I'm saying is when you get your paycheck, it is 40 hours a week. Now,
40
obviously,
hours. Yep.
be flexible, okay? Be flexible. Don't be a dick. Oh, I'm only working 40 hours a week. No, you should be trying to shoot for that 40 hours a week. But the problem
Hmm.
that I always ran into is the hours of operation exceeded my salary pay, right?
Yeah.
So what's really important is you have to make sure that people are in the right spots and you have to let them fail. You have to let them fail. I remember we went down for brunch one Sunday, right? And it was crazy because chef and I were off, and it was like it was hard, it was rough. But the
Yeah.
thing is there was two sous chefs there, two sous chefs were on,
Yeah.
and yes, they were able to recruit, but ultimately they didn't get it. They didn't get the cooks like hyped up enough to get ready for the brunch service, right? They didn't get them
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
hey, like, let's go. Hey, make sure you got a basket of fries down. Make sure you have, like
Mhm.
sandbag a little bit. But it was a good learning experience because not only did I like felt guilty a little bit, but at the same time, it was a good learning experience. I'm like, hey, what did we learn from that service? Like, listen,
Yeah.
restaurants are restaurants, man. Service is service. Sometimes you're going to be short staffed. You're going to like, there's so many different variables.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, if you do everything and put your fingers in everything, then guess what, man? You're just going to dwindle away, and
Yeah. You're gonna get burnt out really
that is the
bad.
problem.
Really
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. I remember, and
Mhm.
it's so funny because I remember like, there was one time where I was like, hey, like this, like there was this, I was training somebody in banquets, and listen, man, banquets is it can be as easy as you want, or it can be as hard as you want. And listen,
Mhm.
the fact that you have the menu in advance gives you an advantage, right? You
Mhm.
can order and you can prepare in advance. Like, dude. Well, anyway, I was training a young sous chef, and I remember specifically the situation, man. They had canapes, first course, second course, and
Mhm.
pastry was taking care of dessert. It was 45 people. And it was funny
Okay.
because he was cutting it close. He was cutting it close, man. I'm like, listen, you need to be set up by 3 o'clock. 3
Yeah.
o'clock, you need to be set up. You need to be set up fully at least an hour before the event. So that way you can fine tune everything. Tell me why they wanted to start 45 minutes early.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And we had this standard, and I recommend everybody to do this. Don't pre-plate the salad. Okay, come on, man. Stop.
Yeah.
Can we stop that shit, chefs? Can we stop pre-plate unless the guest requests? Obviously, like I've had
Yeah. Yeah.
guests say, "Hey, we want the salad pre-plated." I strongly urge not to. I think you should just do assembly line, then boom, salads go out.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, man, he wasn't ready. Wasn't fucking ready. And
Wasn't.
like plates weren't ready. Nothing was ready, bro. And it was like, and then it was funny because like I have the banquet captain come to me. Hey, chef, he's not ready. Chef's not ready. I'm like, hey, listen. This is his party. This is his baby. Okay.
Yeah.
If
It's
I were
running
to
the
go
show
over there
now.
right now, it would be belittling to him. I'm like, no,
Mm.
you work it out with him. This will be fine. We will get through this. And it's funny because the banquet captain was just freaking out because the sous chef at this time had shut down, right? He shut down. He's like trying to just get the shit out. And I'm over there observing, and I'm just like, yeah, I mean, yes, I could fix this really easily. But if I don't let him go through this, you know what I'm saying? And then give
Yeah.
him
He won't learn.
constructive criticism, on the back end, then what's the point? What's the point of, because guaranteed, KC, this is a one time this happens, and then that's it. You don't have
That's
another
it.
time like this
Yep.
because you get your ass set up.
Exactly.
If you don't let a cook go down on the station, if you hold their hand all the time, dude, you're never gonna build them up to where they need to be. No, like there's been some times I've had to bail people out, but this was actually great because then after service, I was like, hey, where were your challenges? First of all, I
Yep.
always say, hey, are you receptive to feedback?
Yeah.
Because if you
That's a
don't
good one
ask,
too.
sometimes, like I hate to say it, but like, and I get this in my videos, and I've been trying to be nicer in my videos, but sometimes I come off as like cocky and arrogant. Like, and I try to tell people it's like, it's not, I don't mean any harm by it. It's just that I have an overwhelming amount of competence when it comes to running a kitchen and being in a kitchen.
Yeah.
And like, it shows sometimes. And like, sometimes I'll be talking about something and like, it offends some people, but man, I keep it 100. But hey, let's so just to caveat off of that, let's talk about Jem's situation because I think this is really interesting, and we should talk about it.
So just a quick little thing. I do want to share this with you, Brandon. I have some statistics here in front of my face. Just kind of going in about. I couldn't get the 2022 version of employees quitting, I should say. And that's like a broad statement, right? But essentially, what is the turnover for restaurants? Specifically, post-COVID, after COVID, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. In 2017 is the most data that we can get. And for restaurants, it's 72.5% turnover.
Damn.
That's a lot, literally a lot. That's 7 out of 10 people will leave, it's nuts. And this is just like a broad kind of perspective, but like the main reasons, and like if you kind of put together, and I can bring it to the screen right here. Actually, I can't. I didn't share it, but not enough training is like 30% of that, right? Different work than expected. It's like a good chunk, 20%, and then the most infamous one, boss is a jerk.
Yeah.
Like at at
You know what?
40%.
Can I tell you something? Can I tell you something? And
Mm,
I'm sure you will agree. Now my leadership style is so different, night and day. I'll never
mm,
yell at anybody ever again, ever.
mm.
I'll never lose my
I
cool
feel you.
ever again. You know, if you like, listen, when I was young in management, it was easy, like literally like a fucking light switch. It was embarrassing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I
yeah.
have some videos that are just embarrassing, but like, a good example is like, my kid last night. This is a good example because like last night, I'm not gonna lie, we were at the restaurant. We were at a restaurant. We were eating
Mm.
out, and my kid is super OCD, just like me. Like he is like seriously like OCD like me,
Got it.
and I am too. I've just done a lot to work on it, but it's helped me out in
Mm.
my career. But anyway, so he has a little coloring book that he got from the restaurant, and I tear off a piece to pick something out of my teeth because I can't have anything in my teeth. I just it gives me the heebie-jeebies. But yo,
Got it.
I tear off this paper, and he like immediately like freaks out, and then my wife looks at me and like, oh my god, I can't believe you just did that. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what?
Wow.
And dude, he starts going like this, like he's like
Oh man.
he
Got
starts
you, got
going
you,
off
got
the
you.
deep end, and then my wife is over there like I just like killed his puppy or something. You know what I'm saying? And she's like,
Yeah, yeah,
I can't believe you just did that. I can't believe, because she knows that he's gonna freak out. So anyway,
yeah.
he's like quiet, he's quiet, but then once we get out to the parking lot, man, it's the waterworks, man. Like
Mm.
complete breakdown. Why did you rip my paper? Blah blah blah. And it's funny because like I took a second and I'm like, I could scream at him, right? I could yell
Yeah,
at him, say, hey, stop crying. It's not a big deal. It's
yeah,
just a piece
yeah.
of paper. But what people need to realize is that he's 6 years old. In his world, that
That's
situation
everything.
is his world. It
Yeah,
is
that's like
everything.
everything.
For us, like, bro, I got so many more things to worry about right now. Like, but this is the same for young cooks and young chefs.
Yeah,
This is their world. So
yeah.
it's fragile. And so basically, we get in the car and I look at him and I'm like, hey, Brandon, are you receptive? His name's Brandon too. He's little Brandon.
Mm.
I'm like, can
Okay.
I can I tell you something? And he's like, no, no, like he's just freaking out. And I said, okay, okay. I said, boom,
Okay.
okay, all right, cool. Then we're in the car. We're on the way home. He's screaming, and I said, okay, listen to me. You have 3 more minutes before we get home to cry all you want. I was like, once we get home,
Mm.
there's no more crying.
Okay.
And so then basically, boom, we get in the driveway, and he's like, and he gets out the car, and he's like huffing and puffing, and I'm like, no more crying. And then I look at him, and I'm like, okay, this is my opportunity. He said, what did you want? What did you
Mm.
want to tell me? And I'm like, first of all, watch your tone. I'm like, second of all, let me tell you something. Once I tore the paper, that's it. It's done. There's no way you
Yeah,
can fix it. And I'm like,
yeah, yeah.
it's okay to be upset. It's okay to be upset,
Mm-hmm.
but to cry about it, there's no point. I'm like, you're old enough now. Daddy didn't mean to
Mm-hmm.
do it on purpose. But I'm telling you right now, there's nothing I can do to fix it except for get you a new one.
Mm-hmm.
And we did. I got him a new little piece of paper. But I think you need to address situations like that. Like you are
Yeah.
talking to a kid, and I don't mean to sound sarcastic, but it's true.
Not to baby them. Yeah, but like,
Exactly. And it's not to treat them like kids. Like, don't get me wrong, don't treat them like kids, but at the same time,
yeah,
one, I always say, hey, are you receptive to feedback? And if not, okay, great.
yeah,
Let me know when you are. Boom. Put the ball in
yeah,
their
yeah,
court. Like, look, listen, sometimes when I'm pissed off, like I'm just, hey, don't fucking talk to me right now.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Like,
yeah. No, I feel you.
but the reason I wanted to say that is because you're 100% right. Cooks leave because of their boss. You know
Because
what
of
I'm
their
saying?
boss.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, and I totally get it. And it's so funny because like I totally know how to deal with assholes, right? Like,
mm, mm,
and it's unfortunate, but like not everybody that I've worked with, not all of my bosses have been a shining star in my life. No. Matter of
yeah,
fact, it's been the complete opposite. And unfortunately, I've worked with some chefs that are like just absolute dicks for no reason. I
yeah,
remember
yeah,
work. I remember working at Cafe Balut, and like one of the sous chefs he used to drink on the job and shit, and it's so funny, man. I hate to put him on blast, but he would like fucking scream out of nowhere, like and shock me. He's like, "This vegetable's not glazed," like literally screaming, and then everybody would look
Wow.
over, and then I would look at
Yeah,
him,
yeah,
and then he would stop, and then he'd like be clanking plates and moving, putting shit in the
yeah.
window. And then I remember one time I was using my spoon, I was plating up, and I had just put my spoon on the pass because I didn't want to
Okay.
put it in
For a
the
second.
spoon bang. Yeah, because I left it in the saute pan, so the flame touched it, right?
Got it.
And I didn't want to put it back in the spoon bang. because it was hot and he was on the pass. And I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna do that. But it was dirty. And so I put it on the pass on a towel. And he's like, and he just fucking loses his mind. He's like, does a dirty spoon go on the pass? What the fuck are you doing? You know what I'm saying? And I just looked at him and I said, chef, I had it on the flame. And then I remember in that moment, I leaned in, I said, hey chef, can I speak to you for a second? I was like, I need you to understand something. I'm like, listen, man to man, like you do not have to scream. I will do whatever you ask. Like there's no question.
Yeah.
But I'm like, but seriously, you don't have to scream at me. Like it just doesn't make any sense to me. And little did I know he was drinking on the job, so he was belligerent, and he ended up getting canned for that eventually. But like, it was just so silly because I told myself as a chef I would never do that. Like, man, it was crazy. And then my man has the nerve to reach out to me like years later and try to be my friend on Facebook. Bitch,
oh come on,
fuck nah, dog,
not today.
Not today, my guy.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, again, right? I don't yell myself. I don't. I sometimes get a little stern. I was like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Not like in a condescending way. But I was like, can we stop that? Like, this is not how we do it. Just kind of that tone. Like I'm upset and you can see it, but I'm never going to yell at you. But then a little later on, I was like, yo, like for 2 seconds, like, why did you do that? Can we just talk about it? You know?
Yeah.
We go back and forth, whatever it is. Sure. I was like, okay, for the next time, can we try this? And Brandon, this is how I talk to literally everybody. Like I don't, there's nothing against it.
Do you plan on having kids yet? Or no?
No, not yet. That's up to the wife.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's up to the wife.
You know what? I'm not going to lie. Like, and I'm not trying to say like you should have kids or not have kids, but like, I am so glad I have children because yes, they completely change your life, but for the better.
Yeah, it will teach you.
And like, and I gotta be honest, like, you know, for me, and I feel like my wife is like a superstar because she deals with kids. Like she is so nurturing and she's such a good mother. She's such a good mom. And like, I'm kind of like, dude, I don't have these qualities, man.
Thank God one of us have it.
Dude, I'm so like short. Like, dude, I don't even like, there's zero leeway with me. Like if I say, hey, no, you can't play with that. Like, that's it. There's no like, you ain't getting past that, my guy. You ain't getting past that. But my wife she's like, okay, for 5 minutes. Okay, you can have it for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, God damn it. I need to be more sentimental or more like nurturing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
We were outside playing, man, and my I think it was the 3-year-old just fucking the 6-year-old face plants, right? Dude, right in front of me. And I swear to God, Casey, I didn't even fucking flinch, my G. Didn't even flinch. My wife's like, oh my God, are you okay? Bro, she goes, because she's like, are you okay? Are you bleeding? Are you this? And I'm like, dude, he's fine. I'm like, and then I take a step back. I'm like, fuck.
He didn't do anything.
Yeah, and then my wife, she didn't say anything, but I caught it. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I should have picked him up and said, hey, are you okay? Dude, nothing, man. So I gotta work on that. Listen, I'm a work in
there you go. There you go. Yeah. We're all in a work in progress.
Yeah, but it's funny. I wanted to sorry, not to change topics, but I wanted to talk about Jem's situation a little bit. Sorry, Jem, I do want to talk about it, but I think it's important.
I don't think we're putting it on blast, but it's just like we have a little mutual, let's say, not debate towards ownership or whatever, XYZ, etc. I've mentioned to him plenty, and when we were kind of discussing, I was like, Jem, if that were my situation, I would have left already. Like it's a waste of my time. It's just I feel like I'm splitting hairs just listening to you. And for me, I get it. Everybody's different. Everyone has their own thing. For me, I'm like, no. It's not worth it. I thank you so much, but it's not working out for me, and I leave just like that. However, obviously everyone's different. For him, he feels as if there's he feels like he needs to like prove something to the owner, or whatever kind of thing that's making him stick to the situation. But I know you have other reservances too. But how do you feel about his situation though? So
just from the outside looking in and from the little pieces I have, and I gotta be honest, there's always two sides to a story, man. I mean, correct. We're all friends, but like, you know, unless I'm in that situation, but I'll be honest, like The thing that I hate sometimes being a chef is that I am so ego driven. There's nobody in this
Mm.
world that's going to be in a suit and tie in front of the house that's going to
Yeah.
tell me how to do my fucking job or
Yeah. Yeah.
cross my line without me knowing it.
Yep.
Right. Like if
Mm-hmm.
somebody touches my knives or moves my cutting board because they want to remove clutter, like there's a certain way to go about that. And for me, that's kind of just like bullying, but who knows? Jem might have had a dirty station. It might have been all nasty, right?
Maybe.
Like you never know. Like
Maybe.
there's certain nuances to each situation from the way our perspective. It looks like, this
Mm.
GM is, an asshole kind of, right? But at the same time, I
Mm.
think it's easily resolvable. Like, and I
Yep.
gotta admit, like, don't waste your time without a third person. Do
Yes.
not talk
Yo,
to
didn't
them
we
by
mention it?
yourself. Don't
Yeah. I was like,
talk.
get somebody else.
Listen to me.
Like,
If
oh
you're a
my
sous
goodness.
chef, if you are in management, if you are a chef of a restaurant, if you are addressing a cook, if you're addressing a sous chef, or if you're addressing the general manager, and you are speaking to them in closed environments. Now, there are some times where you need to speak in closed environments. And it might go one way or the other. Make sure you have a
Yeah.
third person there. Make sure,
Yeah.
or that you have a paper trail, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think what's really
Email.
important is most of these situations can be resolved. Like, I remember one time, like the general manager, I was in Las Vegas and I was the chef on the line, and I was executive sous at this time. And he just sat the restaurant like an asshole, man. Literally 60
Mm.
people at one time, and we were going down, and
Oh, flat sat.
he had the
Wow.
nerve to ask me where table 50 was. And how come we can't do our job over here? Man, I
Oof.
lost my shit, man. I fucking went off the deep end, bro. I literally went off the deep end, and
Mm.
I got in his face, man. It was really bad. It was a really bad situation for me. Um,
Mm.
but for me, after service, I went up to him. I was like, "Listen, I made a mistake tonight. I made a mistake, and I want to own up to it. Listen, I know we're gonna have to deal with this with HR or with, but I'm like,
Mm.
in
Whatever.
all honesty, I apologize. I apologize from man to man. And I completely understand you have a job to do. I have a job to do, and it's up to us to
Mm.
work together in tandem. We're attached to the hip, and I made a
Yep.
mistake. And then, we were cool, man. We were cool. And then the next day, he said, "Hey, how can we work this out?" And I said, "Listen, okay, because basically this is what happens. So in Las Vegas, when you're cooking in Las Vegas, if you do not sit these people, they're going to go to the next restaurant, right? Especially if you're in a casino.
Got it. Got it. Got it.
You have to sit them. You have to. There's no other way to do it. If 60 people come at once, that's what happens. Then you have to that's the chips you're dealt. Because if not, then you're
Mm.
turning away those guests. So if you sit down 60 people and you have to comp 10 tables, it's still worth it, right?
Got it. Got it. Yep.
And the problem is everybody's trying to eat before they go to a show, right?
Yeah.
So basically we worked it out between us. I was like, "Hey, listen, yeah, drop the table. Let's get these orders in." But my biggest thing was that there's a certain nuance to, the flow of a kitchen. So I
Yeah.
would tell the servers, do not, collect all your orders, like 4 tables at once, and then ring them all in the
Yeah.
same time, right? Get your order, but then stagger them at least 5 minutes, And
Yeah.
or what we did was we just didn't drop menus ASAP. We started with drinks. The ones that
Yeah.
didn't want beverage, they just wanted water. Boom, order right away. You know what I'm saying? Like, get some food
Yeah.
on the
Yeah. Yeah.
table, sandbag a couple canapes so you can buy yourself some time. And
Mm.
that's how you work. That's how you work between front of the house and back of the house. If there's not that
Mm.
relationship, then you're screwing yourself, right? It's just
Yeah.
gonna be
You're messed
it's
up.
gonna be pointing fingers all night. And you know
Mm.
what I did? And I think everybody should do. And Jem, you too, if you're listening to this, accept responsibility for everything that comes out of your
Yep.
kitchen. Doesn't matter. Even
Yep.
if
Yep.
you
Yep.
didn't touch it, do not point fingers. Hey, that's me. That's me. There's no need to talk to him. This is my fault.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got this,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, accept responsibility for everything. But I think the relationship between the GM and chef is very important, and obviously that's his is kind of corrupt. And I think the only way to work this out is ownership, GM, right?
Yep.
The three meeting.
The three of them
It's gonna go
literally
one way or the
talk.
other. It's gonna go one way or the
Yeah.
other. Now I'll play devil's avocado. If you need the paycheck, then shut the fuck up and deal with it, right? Like,
Yep.
I know a lot of people that unfortunately they have a job and they freaking hate it. And
Yeah.
you know what I say? I'm like, listen, because people ask me for advice, and sometimes I feel bad giving advice because I'm not like, I'm not, you know,
We
I don't
don't
have
have
a
a
rest.
situation too. You know,
Yeah,
like
and it's like I'm
it's
like, listen,
it's
I
tough.
will tell you one thing. If you're in a job right now and you hate everything, work on a side hustle that will outperform your job, right?
Mm,
Just shut up and all I can say is put your feelings aside when you go to work. Put your feelings
yeah.
aside, just get the job done and stay focused because if you're like in a high level position like me, myself, or you, where you're a CDC or exec sue, if you go start another job, it's 6 months of cleanup. It's 6 months
Yep.
of getting everything organized and redoing
Pretty much.
everything, standard operating procedures. This takes the life out of you. So it's easier just to like, good example. When I walk into work now, like it doesn't matter the situation, big,
Yeah.
small, ups, downs. I can handle
Sure.
anything. I couldn't say that if
Yep.
I were to walk into the other job, but it's because I've been there three
Yep.
years plus. So like for me, I've gotten a lot of curveballs, and yes, it's frustrating sometimes, and I have to deal with like a lot of like things that just don't make sense to me.
Hmm.
Especially with the whole COVID thing, it's ridiculous, man. Like I'm so over it,
Yeah, I could
bro.
assume so, man. I could assume
Dude,
so. It's
yeah, like,
tough.
well, it's not like it's nobody's fault. Like, listen, I don't want to not follow the rules. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not it. But it's just like being in California with this whole, okay, let me preface this by saying I am not an anti-masker and I'm not anti-vaccine. Okay, I am vaccinated and I wear a mask when needed. But the problem is they lifted the mask mandate on inside. Okay,
Mhm.
but in California here, there is a general feeling that if you're not wearing your mask, like you're looked down upon. And it's just
Oh,
silly,
wow,
bro.
wow. That
Like,
is
dude,
silly.
and here's my thing, Casey, is like I don't want to wear a mask, okay? If I don't have to, but I also don't like making other people feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm
So
saying?
you force yourself to wear the mask. I get it. I
So
get it.
so so here's a good example. I went to Safeway the other day, no mask, right? I'm like, yeah, this is great. I feel weird, but I feel naked, right? Then I'm going around the store. I'm fine. Everything's good. Then I get in line and I'm in line and the cashier has a mask on. And then the person behind me has a mask on. But she like strays, she gets back and she's like holding it like close to her face. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, God damn it. And I'm like, it's okay. I'm going to put a mask
Mm.
on. And I pull it out of my pocket and I put my mask on. And then like she didn't say anything, but I just like, I don't want to make anybody feel uncomfortable,
Yeah,
especially if
yeah,
you're
yeah.
elderly. But my thing is they don't know, but I get tested twice a day. I get tested
Yeah.
before I go to work twice a day.
Yeah,
PCR
yours
test
is a
and
little more
incident.
nutty.
Yeah, yeah.
It's almost like you
This
work at a hospital. It's
that
like nuts. Like that's all
but
my wife
yeah,
goes through.
and that's what I'm saying. And then so even at work, like I beg the question, like, hey, if we're all getting tested and we're all negative, like why do we have to wear a mask?
Yeah. Hmm.
If like we like what's the point? And then the thing is a lot of people don't wear a mask. Some people do wear a mask. And so,
Hmm.
for me, and it's like I'm not telling on anybody. Like that is not my job. And my job is
Hmm.
not to enforce this rule. And I'm not going to waste time. I'm not a tattletale. And
Yep.
really just want to like get out of California. But don't worry, it's gonna happen, bro. I'm super excited. We're gonna see. Dude, I want to be
Oh my
free, man.
goodness.
Like, I don't even want to open a
Yeah,
restaurant
no, I
here.
feel you.
Think,
I feel
dog.
you.
Like, I want to open a restaurant where there's no rules and regulations. I don't care if we're not busy.
Yeah.
I do care about business, but like because now everything is so digital and video driven, you can create the story, bro. It doesn't matter.
Yo, can I just okay? Quick mention. This is a nice little tangent. So as you know, I work by myself on the line, right? It's just all me. I do everything myself. I found a good KDS that I can perform myself during work. I don't need a third person. There's nothing. Everything pops up, and it populates all by itself. I pretty much do it myself.
Yeah.
I had a couple of managers come in. It's like, who's doing your orders? Like, who's doing this? I was like, it's all online. They're like, what? I was like, yeah. I don't have anybody punching in stuff or this is what you order, whatever. You do everything your own. I get the order. I just click stuff and it goes to you as an email. Like this will be ready in XYZ.
Yeah.
And they're like, wow. What do the other restaurants do nowadays?
Yeah.
If you think
Listen,
about it, it's like you have people on the KDS punching stuff. Like it's unnecessary in my opinion. You know,
Yeah.
if I can do
Yeah.
it,
Listen,
a lot of people can do it.
Look, I'm going to be honest. I think the restaurant industry is going towards more quick service, right? Like, let's be honest, man. Let's be honest. Like, I want I like having a server or som, like in a maitre d, like, but in
Sure.
all honesty, like I was just well, I mean, but like I was proposing just cooks and only one or
Yeah,
two
just
servers
cooks.
to serve drinks, and then the cooks deliver the food if it's family style,
Yeah.
especially, and they explain it, and it's different when the person cooking your food is bringing it to you.
Yep.
There's
100%
more of an
different.
emotional
100% different.
connection. When I explain a steak that I just cooked, it's like a voiceover, right? Like
Yeah.
there's some
Yeah.
nuance to it. When it's a server, it's not as passionate. And I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but this makes a difference because people are genuinely interested in where their food comes from.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
How'd you cook it? How it was done?
And
You
and
know, we
and
did
and
this
and, per,
ourselves.
and you know what? And honestly, Casey, just want to shout you out. I think the ramen project is so amazing. Like,
Thank you. Thank
and
you.
I
Thank you.
and I know
Thank you.
I know that deep down in your chef little heart, you're like, yeah, this is me. This is me.
This is like the
This is me.
best thing, Brandon.
Yeah.
Like the money that comes, it's like it's your sweat. You know,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
as gross as that sounds, but like
Yeah.
I did this. You know,
Yeah, and here's the thing, and
I
just
just
like I
feel
told
so
you, like,
good.
hey, keep the capital low, man. Like, you don't need that much to
Yeah,
create that first bowl, dog. Like,
correct. Really don't.
keep the capital low.
Mm.
Like, could you imagine if you were doing like you need to start out slow and then like keep it moving?
So right now, as we're kind of talking about it, I'm transitioning. Well, not transitioning, but like to market it. I have a couple of people helping me out. We're gonna push the agenda as the only ramen pop up shop in my area. Literally, Brandon, I'm the only one that's doing it right now.
Yeah.
In the 10-mile radius. That's pretty big. And I think we can push that story out to New Jersey, and I think it will get a lot of eyes. And then when you get that phone call, bro, like I don't know, 12 o'clock at night or some shit, it's like, yo, we ready. Yeah, we ready.
Yeah, because I'll
Franchise.
be honest, like, man, you don't need a brick and mortar to do ramen. You really don't. Like, listen, some of the
Yeah.
best ramen I've seen, like, and I can't wait to go to Japan, but like, dude, they're on the street. They're on the streets, my
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, if you and I was even thinking about like, you know how you see like fruit cart vendors, you see like hot
Mhm.
dog cart vendors, but you don't
They
see no
have that
ramen
over
vendors,
there.
man.
Yeah,
Dude,
man.
all you need is if you had a street cart, you had a pasta boiler, then you had the
Mhm.
broth going, and you had your toppings, keep them warm. Like you could definitely set that up on the street, dog. Like
Oh yeah,
it's like
100%.
yeah, and it's like, no, I'm not telling you to do that, but I'm just saying there's so many opportunities and avenues where ramen is
Mhm.
just one bowl. It's a focus on one bowl. And I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I can't wait to try the bowl. I'm gonna try it one day. But
Yeah.
and then I was also thinking like for consumer products too, like, there's a lot of people have started cooking at the house, but if you could package this up into you know, like, okay, you have your ramen, then, you have your sauce you have your two sauces, your broth in a pack and your sauce in a pack. And then you have, your sides and everything gets warmed up a certain way, but it was like an instant ramen, right? But
Yeah, it
but
is a
restaurant
ramen.
quality, dude, you could package this up, man. You could. And I'm telling you, if you had a distribution company, I'm sure there's one in New York or Jersey that could definitely help you get to that level. You know,
Yeah. I definitely
all
want
you
to
all you
eventually.
all you need is Whole Foods to say yes, and that's it, bro. It's game over. That's all you need.
Yo, that's the dream, man. Oh my god, can you
That's all you need.
imagine?
I can, I
Nonchalantly go to
can,
Whole Foods.
I
Like,
can,
hey,
and that's why I
that's
try to tell.
mine right there.
Listen, this is why I was trying to tell people like, oh, Whole Foods has changed, Amazon this, but I'm like, shut up. The world
Yeah.
is changing. Everybody gets their
Yeah.
groceries
Yeah.
delivered. Everybody gets their groceries delivered now.
Mm,
Convenience is king. Now, I will say that Whole Foods is the only brand that sources locally, right? They go out and they have teams. Like if you come to the Whole Foods in California, you're going to see California local stuff all over the place.
yeah.
Small shops, right? But if you go to Jersey, you're going to see local Jersey stuff, Jersey tomatoes, Jersey this, Jersey that.
Mm,
What I'm saying is this gave an opportunity for, chefs and also purveyors to be able to get their
yeah.
stuff on store shelves, which I think is
Yeah.
key, right? It's
On a big
key.
market too.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Dude,
I can't wait.
could you imagine if you got into Trader Joe's? Bro, get the fuck out of here.
Yo, that'd be
Get the fuck out
that'd
of
be
here.
ooh.
Like,
That'd be
I don't care
great.
what anybody
That'd be
says. I
great.
don't care what anybody says. Like, that's what us chefs need to be thinking about. Don't think
Hmm.
about the freaking brick and mortar and
Yeah.
think about the bigger picture. Yes, if you're building a brand, then yes, get a brick and mortar and start building the brand and then branch off. But like, don't tie your whole life into that one place. You need to start
Yeah.
thinking about an exit strategy and also more avenues of revenue, more streams
Yeah.
of revenue.
See,
So
this is what
important.
I'm telling you, man. That's how I think too. So again, small steps though, right? So it's
Even-
kind of cool. I'm going through the process now, you know,
Yeah,
etc.
I would even argue that you could package up that pork.
I can, dude. If I had a vacuum,
You could do that.
if I
you
had a
could do
vacuum
that at your-
sealer,
Listen, bro, dog, you can get a food saver. It's cheap. It's not that. Dog, it's like under $200, bro. I don't want to hear that. Listen,
I
10
know.
years ago,
I
okay,
know.
I would get it. I don't have
I know.
I don't have a vacuum machine, bro. You can get a really good one at Web Restaurant for less than $400. What I'm saying
Yeah.
is if you can sell that direct to consumer if you just had a Shopify store, right? But you have to do it frozen.
Yeah.
That's the only problem. You have to
Yeah.
do it frozen because you wouldn't be able to pack it perishable. You would need too many ice packs. So I would just, I would, but it's possible. You can sell it by the
Possible.
pound. People are
Definitely
selling
doable.
barbecue from Texas, barbecue from California, via Goldbelly. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Wrap it
we'll
up.
end on this one. Have an open mind. If it's not working out for you, especially in your location, in my opinion, this is straight for me. Okay, it's not worth my headache or the splitting of hairs for me.
Yeah.
So I will literally, you know, it's not for me. I've done this 3 times, Brandon, in my career. It's like, this is not for me. I think I put in like a month or some shit. Not for me. Hopefully you don't take any offense to it, but I am walking away. I will try to help you out with trying to find somebody else, but I'm telling you right now, it's not for me. And then I walk away. You know? But take that information as you will. For everybody else, though, we'll be back again next week, and don't go crazy. All right?
Peace.